Coming off their biggest regular season win in likely 4 years. On Saturday, they punctuated with a win over Arizona. On Sunday, do the Canucks, and now a massive game with the Jets, a team that shares their 88 points in the standings. And a bit of a surprise as Hutchinson gets to start between the pipes for the Jets. Pavelec has won 5 straight and had started 5 straight. Eddie Lack, no surprise, back between the pipes after sitting out Sunday. It's the Canucks and the Jets on Sportsnet. And let's get you right up to date as to what has transpired so far on this evening and what it means. With Doug MacLean and Colby Armstrong, I'm Brad Fay, because Western teams in action across the board, including the LA Kings, a team that had a 4-point deficit to make up on the Canucks and the Jets when the night began, but that now has been reduced to 2 because Jeff Carter, 65 seconds into the third, redirects it to make it 3-1. That would be the winner, and the Kings take it by the final of 4-2 over the Rangers. So give the Kings 86 points with 73 games played. This is Minnesota on Long Island. Parise's goal just squeaks across the line in the shootout, and then Tavares is stopped by guess who? Devan Dubnyk. 34th straight start, another win for him. So the Minnesota Wild, when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets and the wild card race, open up that 3-point advantage for the first wild card. The Jets hanging on to the second one, and we say hanging on. Meantime, we head back to Rogers Arena, and we'll hear from Doug and Colby momentarily, but Dan Murphy standing by on this special night. Canucks for Kids Telethon, Dan, and it is all yours at Rogers Arena.
Yes, Brad, after back-to-back road games on the weekend and back-to-back wins on the road on the weekend for the Vancouver Canucks, they're kicking off a homestand here, 3 games starting with a team they're tied with in the standings. Now, the Canucks winning those games on the road thanks to the power play. Haven't said that for a while. They'd gone 5 consecutive games without a power play goal. They get the winner both Saturday and Sunday on the power play. And how many points is it going to take to make the playoffs in the West? Everybody's winning. You mentioned it. Calgary wins yesterday, LA yesterday and today, the Wild today. So 2 huge points up for grab this evening. And wouldn't you know it, probably 3 will be handed out by the end of the day. But the scoreboard is secondary, and this night it's the Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon. So let's go over to George Stroumboulopoulos and Scott Oake.
Murph, thank you very much, and thank you all for joining us for the 25th annual Canucks for Kids Telethon, brought to you by Chevrolet under the category of Make Those Phones Ring. Well, they are right now, but that shouldn't stop you from calling.
1-855-KIDS-FUN is the number to donate. 1-855-437-3863, or go to Canucks.com. You can donate throughout the entire night, and we'll check back with you here and update you in the first intermission. Enjoy the first.
George and Scott, thank you, and certainly we echo those sentiments. The scoreboard is secondary to what they're doing there. The numbers are unbelievable, the amount of money they've raised in the 25 years. But we are here to talk about a massive game in the standings as well. And Radim Vrbata moving up and down from that first line to the second line. Really, the Canucks have been a better team when he's played without the Twins.
Well, look, for the first couple of months, all he kept talking about was how great it was to come to Vancouver and get a chance to play with the Sedins. Well, they needed scoring down in the lineup, and by dropping him down on the second line, he's made a difference, and his play has not dropped off. As a matter of fact, it's been just as good. So yeah, he gets his PP time with the Sedins, but I'll tell you what, he's been a great pickup. I really like the way Willie Desjardins has used him. Sedins down in the lineup, you know, moving him around. I think he's been one of the good acquisitions of last summer. And his consistency stays.
Talk about Willie Desjardins, but that's a great move, balancing the lineup. And when I played, we always looked at ways we could kind of balance those scoring lines. And, you know, your second line's like your first line's best friend if they can be going. So, you know, Verbata's done that for them.
Takes pressure. The Sedins have actually been better, and that's because of that pressure being lifted. 27 goals for Vrbata. So here we go. 34 straight starts for Devan Dubnyk, but they won't go 6 straight with Pavelec because the analytics suggest back-to-back.
I can't believe that Chuck Fletcher and Yo are not following the analytics, saying, I mean, they got to get him out of that net.
They can't read. They don't know how to read.
I mean, seriously. But Pavelec wins 5 in a row, and he's not playing in the biggest game. And I know Hutchinson's been a great story, no doubt about it. But, hey, you can't play him back-to-back. Bad analytics.
I like the feel in the room. I like what Pavelic's done. I don't know if he's done it all year, but lately he's done it 5 in a row. Hard to see he doesn't come back. Dubnyk, meanwhile, sleeping in his equipment tonight at home.
Winnipeg, last time they came to Vancouver, it was the Evander Kane show for all the wrong reasons. The team has since been solidified. They're playing their best hockey of the year, and they take on the Canucks team next. Both teams, 88 points. It's On the Line with John and John when we come back.
A beautiful look at Rogers Arena in Vancouver, where the schedule maker tells you it's game number 74 for the Canucks and 75 for the Winnipeg Jets in the regular season. But make no mistake, This is playoffs in March as the Canucks and the Jets jockey for position in the Western Conference standings. Starting goalies for this game will be brought to you in a moment. In the meantime, Ronald Kennins returns to the Vancouver lineup. In place of Brandon McMillan, Andrew Ladd, on the cusp of a career season. One more point will match his career best. I'm all caught up in the telethon.
Yes, I know you are.
There goes the perfect broadcast as we're underway in Vancouver. Dan Hamhuis feeding ahead to Kennins, and he passes forward for Jannik Hansen, bouncing puck through to the goal. Hansen tries to center. It's grabbed by Michael Hutchinson, and he hangs on for the whistle. And isn't that a perfect segue?
Now you could get to the goalies.
Into the starting goalies. Brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the NHL. Eddie Lack, after a rare day off in Glendale, returns to work for the Canucks, 7-3-1 in his last 11. And for the Jets, Paul Maurice opting to turn away from the hot hand. Andre Pavlik's won 5 in a row, but he played last night in Edmonton, and Michael Hutchinson gets the call here in Vancouver.
Little surprised. Big kerfuffle in Winnipeg about the starting goalie.
Chris Tanev overskates the puck at center. Here comes Blake Wheeler in for the Winnipeg Jets. Center, Scheifele beats. Great pad save by Eddie Lack. Mark Scheifele was in alone. And an opening minute save for the Canuck netminder. Now Tanev at the other end with a shot. Hutchinson to stop. And Michael Hutchinson covers for Winnipeg.
Boy, what a stop early for Eddie Lack. Hutchinson stops the long shot, and Eddie Lack, Scheifele in alone. There's Chris Tanev overskating the puck and then falling down. Scheifele's in, goes to the backhand, and Eddie Lack stayed with him long enough so that he could just drag the right leg, and Scheifele didn't get it up and over. Good save by Eddie Lack early in this one.
Mark Scheifele, 5 points in his last 4 games, 13 in his last 13, but denied there. Now off the draw in the Winnipeg zone, Lucas Spiza with a shot, another save for Hutchinson. And another whistle for a face-off in the Winnipeg zone.
Michael Hutchinson, his last 2 starts, he got the hook in St. Louis, and then Pavlich let in that long shot. And the next game was in Florida, and he lost that one. So I think Paul Maurice just wanted to get him back in. The Jets go home to play 4 in a row.
Another face-off win for the Canucks. Kevin Bieksa bounces a shot wide of the goal. Nick Bonino centers, knocked away by Hutchinson. And here's the Winnipeg captain, Andrew Ladd, stripped of the puck by Radim Vrbata. His pass slides right through to Eddie Lack, who sweeps the puck to Lucas Spiza, and ahead for Nick Bonino. Rink wide at center, Vrbata drives the puck in on Hutchinson. That was a bit of a knuckle, but he's able to snare the puck and drop it down to the side. Jay Harrison passes up to Michael Frolik. Adam Pardy throws one to center. Spiza intercepts, and here's Lyndon Vey for Vancouver. Bieksa, as the Jets fans get into it. And there's a large contingent of Winnipeg fans here at Rogers Arena. Lee Stempniak couldn't get the puck through center. Shot by Mathias is stopped by Hutchinson. Now Mathias to the left point. Dan Hamhuis with a blast. Looking for the deflection was Derek Dorsett, but he tipped it wide of the goal. Lyndon Vey across from Mathias, a swing and a miss. Now he spins to the corner. Mathias pulls his way in front. Ladd intercepts, and he's able to get the puck ahead to Stempniak. Playing his 700th game in the NHL, Lee Stempniak passes down for Jim Slater. Slater to the blue line, long shot by Mark Stewart, and that sailed wide of the goal. Dan Hamhuis tried to get the puck up the boards. Yuri Talusti pokes it to the corner. Now Eric O'Dell centers. Talusti shoots. He scores! Yuri Talusti, 2 minutes and 17 seconds in, and Winnipeg leads 1-0.
Dan Hamhuis ends up with the turnover in the corner, and the Winnipeg Jets on their 2nd shot of the game after Eddie Lack made that save on the Scheifele breakaway. They make their next one count. Lyndon Vey fell down. Dan Hamhuis chased in the corner, and that leaves Yannick Weber out by himself. There's Lyndon Vey falling down. Chris Tanev earlier, and the shot might have been tipped.
Maybe off Dorsett's stick?
Off Dorsett's stick, and short side on Eddie Lack.
So an early goal for Winnipeg. This nothing new to the Canucks, who have given up the first goal now in 21 of their last 29 games. Now the Jets have the puck again. Matt Halischuk trying to bring it out. Turning in the corner, Tanev trying to stay with him. Odell feeds the blue line. Here's Jake True, a long wrist shot off the mask of Eddie Lack. Seen that a few times in recent games, and the puck goes out of play.
Canucks Hockey. Brought to you by Subway. Build your own comfort at Subway with a heartwarming ham melt and tomato basil soup combo. Subway. Eat fresh.
Derek Dorsett's trying to recover after Lyndon Vey fell down. He waves the stick at it. I don't think it hit his stick.
No, you're right. Now a deflected shot for sure, and that one Eddie Lack able to track and cover up. And the Jets off to a quick start on the shot clock with 6 already. Sorry, it's the Canucks who have 5. The Jets now have 4.
Paul Maurice looks on, and the acquisitions of Kevin Cheveldayoff. Tulowitzki now is starting to produce. The Buffalo guys last night in Edmonton, and Scheifele, his increased ice time with Brian Little being out, he is really quite well there.
Drew Stafford after the puck in the Vancouver zone. Battling Tanev. Stafford riding a 6-game point streak for Winnipeg. Feeds one in deep for Scheifele. Tanev moves to check him. Henrik Sedin after the puck as well. 3 Jets in deep. Stafford down for Scheifele. Wheeler trying to find position in front. Now the pass intercepted by Alex Burrows, and he carries to center. Burrows dumps the puck in. Back goes Toby Enstrom. Tyler Myers there as well. Daniel Sedin gets the puck to Henrik Sedin. To the blue line, Bieksa. Near corner to Burrows. Back to Lucas Spiza. Had to take it on the backhand. Now he passes down to Henrik Sedin. Chip pass for Daniel. Leaves for Henrik. Turning on the left wing. Back to Spiza. One-timer deflected. Loose in front. And diving onto the puck is Hutchinson. Able to cover for the Jets.
Well, that's the one thing Toby Enstrom has problems with, is handling the guys in front. He's out there with Tyler Myers, who is the complete opposite of that, but Enstrom and Burrows, and you can see Burrows gets inside position. And Hutchinson does a nice job battling through Burrows to find that puck and cover it up.
Bonino against Lowry on the face-off. Adam Lowry, the clean winger. And Ladd passes rink wide, gloved down by Trouba. Lowry through center. Foley missed the pass. Canucks turn back for Batten. Quick shift in the neutral zone. Now another nice move and a quick shot off the stick of Hutchinson into the corner. Bonino in traffic. Now Spiza gets the puck down for Verbata. Puck deflects back to him. Verbata to Spiza, trying to cut in front. Checked by Ladd. Now at the side. Quick shot hit the side of the goal. And sprawling is Hutchinson, as Bonino couldn't get the puck up in the air. And sliding along the ice, the goaltender made a nice stop.
Boy, there's an acrobatic save. Stack the pads, lay right out. That looked like a Cesar Maniego save. Michael Hutchinson ends up. Nick Bonino, great save on the first shot, and there's Hutchinson sprawled out. What a stop on the first shot. Oh, it's off the post, off the skate, and then he's able just to sprawl and cover up.
I thought at least he would have picked a wrong-handed goalie.
Wrong,
yes,
the wrong-handed goalie. I should have picked somebody like that.
Here's a race for the puck at the Vancouver line. Comes in front to Tulowitzki with a pass for Slater. He couldn't make contact on the backhand. Another check of Lyndon Vey.
I should have gone less big.
There you go. Stempniak check. Puck sent down the ice. Icing waved off. And Harrison goes back, being watched by Sean Mathias. Hardy up the near board. Stempniak pressured by Edler. He throws one in front. Puck loose on the far side. Thrown to the blue line. Tanev couldn't hold it in. Delayed offside, but the Jets get the puck ahead and out. 5 minutes into the first, 1-0 Winnipeg on a goal for Yuri Tulowitzki, his 14th of the season. Henrik Sedin tips the puck in. Stafford up the boards. Scheifele to center. Here's Wheeler. Moving in on Tanev. Pass in front. Intercepted. Burrows tried to hook the puck to Daniel Sedin, but it winds up on the stick of Tyler Myers, who feeds across, and Enstrom starts out. Nicely ahead to Stafford. Down the left wing on the backhand. Puts one through the crease and out to the near side. Myers at the right point. Pass picked off by Daniel Sedin. Burrows. Touch pass to Bieksa. Dumps one in for Henrik Sedin to go after. Stafford gets there first. Bieksa moves in deep. Henrik from the corner. Pass for Kennings. Jets intercept, and Scheifele brings the puck to center. Back goes Lucas Spisek as both teams complete their change. Bieksa throws one ahead. Hansen racing after, comes right in front, and Hutchinson gathers the puck and gets the whistle. Jets have one early. They had another chance. Slater on the backhand, but Lyndon Vey able to poke it away.
This period brought to you by the bold new 2015 Toyota Camry. One bold choice leads to another.
Canucks and the Jets and the Canucks for Kids Fund Telethon. 1-855-KIDS-FUND. 1-855-437-3863. Or you can donate online at Canucks.com. Get your donation in by midnight. You have a chance to win a 2015 Chevrolet Colorado Z71. 1-0 Jets. Tulosti the goal. Tyler Myers onto the puck. Checked along the boards. Engstrom will try the other side. And that one goes off the glass. Gloved down by Yannick Weber. Engstrom feeds the middle. Lowry to Frolik, who banks the puck to center. Kennings works the puck to Dan Hamhuis. He's under pressure at his own blue line, and Ladd is able to force the puck into the Vancouver zone. Kennings takes it back and dumps around for Weber, who missed the puck. Now tries to tip it up the boards. Horvat can't reach it. Long shot. Gloved by Lack, who drops the puck down for Hamhuis. His pass deflected off a Winnipeg stick. Hutchinson out to play the puck, and Ladd tips it to center. Edler knocked down there by Lowry. And now Ladd dumps the puck in and gives a jump to Ronald Kennings. 7 minutes into the first. And that pass is off the skate of Nick Bonino. Canucks get the puck back, and Tanev carries it to center, flipping it into the Winnipeg end. Myers alertly moved over and gloved that one down. He's checked, however, can't move out. Verbata wrists one on goal, steered wide by Hutchinson. Verbata again on the right wing. Around for Bonino. Puck gets all the way to the near side. Edler moves down from the left point. Fanned as he tried to move it in front. And Myers takes the puck away, runs into Bonino. But Enstrom is there to help out. Toby Enstrom up the middle. Stafford feeds Wheeler, and he chips the puck into the Vancouver zone. Scheifele leads for Stafford on the left wing. Centering pass, tipped on goal by Wheeler. And now the puck intercepted by Verbata, who was checked immediately by Stewart, but able to tip the puck around for Edler. 8 minutes into the first. 1-0 Winnipeg. Stewart being pursued by Henrik Sedin, works the puck to Stempniak. Here comes Jim Slater onto the right wing. Stempniak with a shot, and that went off the stick of Bieksa and over top of the net. Puck ricochets to the near side. Henrik Sedin picks it up, gives it away to Slater. He wrists one wide of the goal. Tulosti onto on the left side. Into the corner. Stempniak, double teamed. Works the puck down low. Daniel Sedin leaves in the corner for Bieksa, and now deflects to Henrik Sedin. Long lead pass for Daniel. Had to stop to take it. Now he fans on his pass back, and Stempniak steals and moves in. Lee Stempniak wide on Weber. Tips the puck to the near boards. Adam Pardy moves down from the right point. Jets with fresh legs onto the ice. Canucks in need of a change up front. Henrik Sedin gets the puck to the line, but not past Chris Thorburn, who's able to hook it to the high slot. Odell took a look, lost the puck, and Burrows is able to shoot it into the Winnipeg zone, facilitating the Vancouver line change. Here's Bieksa at the blue line. Feeding the left point. Hamhuis, wrist shot attempt. Tipped wide by Mathias. And Hutchinson clears the puck ahead for Halischuk. Pass for Thorburn, who was trying to get behind Hamhuis. Now the puck's into the Vancouver end. Dan Hamhuis starts up. Derek Dorsett ahead for Mathias. Myers staying with him. Forces Mathias to the corner. Now a battle behind the net. Hay is out with the puck. Working on Adam Lowry. Mathias from the corner. Gets the puck once more. Dorsett goes after it in front of Enstrom. Works his way to the blue line. Dumps it around to the near side. Mathias didn't see the puck. Edler moves down from the blue line. Here's Vey. Back for Bieksa. Fan on his shot. Gets the puck to Vey again. Dorsett turning in the corner. Vey goes to the front. Puck winds up in front. And the Jets, Ladd intercepts. Tips it forward and chases after the puck in the Vancouver zone. Bieksa there first, able to muscle it around for Edler. Here's Horvat. His pass blocked. Edler gets the puck again over to Bieksa. On the first. Horvat missed that pass, and the Jets try to break in. Horvat's going to get a penalty as he tripped Wheeler. Bieksa might be deserving of one as well. And now a little mix-up in the corner. But it'll be Bo Horvat in the penalty box when we come back, and the Jets trying to build on a 1-0 lead.
We remind you to play Safeway's $1 Million Score and Win. If any Vancouver player scores 5 goals in tonight's game, Margaret Angus of Powell River could win $1 million.
It is Bo Horvat in the penalty box for this.
Well, he falls down and he's swinging back on Blake Wheeler, takes his feet out and ends up in the tripping penalty. He didn't really know. He was sitting on the bench during the dry scrape, and the referee came over to Bo. Guess where you belong.
So the Jets to the power play, the first man advantage of the hockey game. Winnipeg went 2 for 4 last night at Edmonton. Ranks 13th in the NHL, just under 19%.
Myers had one of them.
Scheifele carries it. Round for Wheeler, helps the puck along. Stafford centers, quick shot by Ladd, went wide of the goal. Myers at the line. Stafford to the side. Wheeler had the puck get away from him. Now they jam away. It's underneath Alex Edler. Referee telling him to move it. Wheeler winds up with the puck. Stafford to the blue line. Myers takes a look. Rishaw bounces through, lacked the save, and he's got the puck with Wheeler hoping to jar it loose.
Eddie Lack in good position. That one skipped right in front of him. As you say, it was deflected down. Took a bounce off the ice, and Eddie Lack's in good position to make the save. Blake Wheeler is hard to handle. He's a big guy. He's in front. Eddie's got control, and look at Wheeler. He's trying to force his way in. Alex Edler's just trying to clear it. Wheeler digging at the loose puck.
Still a minute 20 to go on the Winnipeg power play.
Blake Wheeler with the shield on from last night's action.
Canucks clear. Trouba will start from behind his own goal. Ahead to Stempniak, who walks the line, doesn't like what he sees, so he'll retreat with a pass to Trouba. Enstrom drives the puck in, hard around to the near side. Hamhuis there to corral it, and he flips it down the ice. Trouba and Enstrom on the points. Frolik, Stempniak, and Chalousty up front. And Frolik is in. Bobbled the puck. Hansen tips it down the ice. Now Mathias gives chase. Hansen's with him. Sean Mathias around to the near side. Hansen won't catch up to that one, and Trouba winds up with the puck. 20 seconds to go in the Winnipeg power play. Here's Scheifele right up the gut. Dishes off. Wheeler to the net. Stopped by Eddie Lack. Covered the short side and made the save. Myers at the blue line. Down to Scheifele. Rink wide. Chance for Stafford. Didn't pull the trigger. Puck winds up in the corner. Mathias gets it ahead and all the way down the ice. Penalty's over. Horvat out of the box. Winnipeg 0 for 1 on the power play. Still leading 1-0. Scheifele through center. In on the right wing. Tried to drag one inside on Spiza, who knocked the puck to the corner. Burrows winds up with it and leaves for Kevin Bieksa. Shots are now 9 apiece. The Jets managed a couple on the power play. Verbata carries it on the left wing with a wrist shot blocker. Save. Rebound tipped away by Thorburn. And he tips the puck ahead to O'Dell, who chips it off the boards and out. Halischuk closes the gap on Spiza quickly. But Halischuk loses his stick. Spiza hit by O'Dell. Canucks work the puck free to Alex Burrows. Taking a turn with Bonino and Verbata after the penalty kill. Now heads to the bench as Mathias jumps over the boards with Derek Dorsett. There's a shot by Hamhuis on the slot, and Hutchinson alertly turns that one over the glass and gets the whistle.
Finger cooked tonight. Order from over 100 menu items at bostonpizza.com.
Maybe the shot didn't get through.
I don't think so. I think Mark Stewart coming across. Nice play by Bonino. Alertly backhand, and Stewart's in the way. Out comes the left pad. I think Stewart got a piece of it before it got through to Hutchinson.
Face off in the Winnipeg zone. Puck held in by Mathias, but right onto the stick of Myers. He sends a hard one to center, knocked down by Ladd, who then took the ricochet off Weber. Frolik from behind the goal. Canyon on him. Frolik checked by Vey. Now Vey loses the puck. It's loose in the crease and grabbed by Eddie Lack, who gets the whistle for the faceoff. Murph.
Well, Chevrolet is committed to safety on the roads as well as on the ice. To find out more about the Chevrolet Safe and Fun Hockey program, log on to safeandfunhockey.ca.
Canucks a little careless beside their own goal. Eddie Lack alertly pounced on that one. Lyndon Vey brought it back. It's really a relentless forechecking team, the Winnipeg Jets. You have to be careful and make the smart play around your own goal.
Speedy and big. Kennins deflects that one from his own side of center. And that's an icing call for another face-off in the Vancouver zone. Willie Desjardins he's very used to playing from behind. His team has given up the first goal a lot lately.
And he doesn't like that long pass, especially by the fourth line. If you want to call this the fourth line, they played like the third line some games, played like the second line some games with Bo Horvat.
Face-off win for the Jets. Long shot. Edlund might have got a piece of it in front of the goaltender. Now they try a long pass. That one almost worked as Hansen was trying to break free. Kennins throws a hit on Party. Horvat after the puck, chops it down the boards. Party intercepts. Ahead for Stempniak. Tips one forward. Tanev being shadowed by Slater. Shoots the puck around for Hansen, who tips it to Horvat, and he gets it out. Kennins and Talusti fighting for the puck in front of the Vancouver bench. It winds up on Bieksa's stick across to Edwards. Bieksa to Henrik Sedin, quickly across. Burrows was offside as Daniel Sedin touched the puck. 5:12 to go in the first. Visitors have the lead. Talusti the goal. It's 1-0.
Big day for Chris Tanev. Signs a 5-year, $22.25 million deal. Not bad for a guy who almost quit when he was 15, was cut in AAA, was playing just once a week with his high school team, but then between the ages of 16 and 17 grew 8 inches, played at RIT for 1 year, was signed by the Canucks, and in 2011 was right into the Cup final. So a great find by the previous regime, which is Mike Gillis, and a big move today by GM Jim Benning.
Well, Chris Tanev is playing over 21 minutes a game, and it's nice to see a guy who doesn't put up the gaudy offensive numbers get rewarded for just being a real steady, stay-at-home kind of guy who controls the play coming out of your own zone.
The stat that gets me is going up against top players every night, and he has in his career 15 minor penalties in 216 career games.
So good positionally. He doesn't have to reach, doesn't have to use his stick very much.
Jets offside. And on the whistle, we'll check in again with Murph.
Well, guys, you're talking, he doesn't put up a whole lot of offensive numbers. This is a fancy stats contract. No one's played more minutes. It had fewer shots than Tanev's 44 in the league. But when you look at the puck possession numbers, yes, the Corsi and Fenwick, no defenseman on the Canucks drives possession more than the Canucks, as the shot differential for him is better than any other Vancouver defenseman.
Murph is going to explain that to us over a few beers sometime.
Puck out of play, into the bench. I'm just glad Tanev went to the bench and changed after that last shift, because the way things work with me normally, he would have immediately taken a penalty when he rushed up the ice.
You would have taken it on Twitter for jinxing him.
The short house whammy. 4.5 to go in the first, 1-0 Jets. And Daniel Sedin collects the puck off the draw and tips it into the Winnipeg zone. Oh man. Burrows driven into the net by Trouba. Driven might be overstating it, but bumped as he tried to pursue the player with the puck, and the net's knocked off.
And you can see Alex Burrows is looking, okay, that's not interference. And Trouba saying, no, I had the lane. And here comes Burrows, and there's Trouba. And I guess that's a good non-call because Burrows kind of angled into Trouba, and Trouba just was skating in the lane. And
I agree with you.
Fans here in Vancouver don't like it. But
I thought at first Burrows was trying to go behind the net, but clearly he was trying to cut in front.
Trouba just stayed in the lane he was in.
Out with the puck is Tyler Myers. Gets to center and dumps it in. And he'll pursue his own chip in, collide with Lucas Spiza in the corner. Jets center the puck. Lowry with a quick shot. He missed on the short side. Enstrom checked by Burrows, but the puck held in by Frolik. Bieksa sends it to the Winnipeg blue line. Myers controls. Over to Toby Enstrom. 4 minutes remaining in the first period. Jets leading 1-0. Daniel Sedin kicks the puck at center to Burrows. Down the left wing. Runs into Party in the corner. 3 Canucks in deep trying to come up with the puck. Jets come out with it. Frolik plays catch with O'Dell, and Winnipeg able to move the puck to center. Frolik follows up. Nice move of the line to get around Henrik Sedin. Cuts across the slot with a wrist shot, and a blocker saved by Eddie Lack. Dorsett moves the puck ahead. Chases in on Party. Jets play the puck around to the near side. Stewart ahead for Halischuk. Pressured by Alex Edler. Dorsett from the corner. Dumps the puck to the other side. Stewart is there for the Jets. Bodied by Lyndon Vey. Thorburn checked by Vey. Here's Mathias trying to bring the puck to the front. Comes out the near side. Now moves in front with a shot attempt that deflected wide. Dorsett's lost his helmet as he continues on in this shift. Tanev tried to feed one back to Mathias. That was intercepted, but Dorsett holds the puck in. Vey trying to find some room. Cleared down to the Vancouver line and picked up by Kevin Bieksa. Cross to Alex Edler. Leaves to Mathias. Pass in front. Intercepted, and Chalustey has the puck for the Jets. Trouba to Chalustey. And back for Harrison, who wound up icing the puck as he tried to advance it to a teammate at the Vancouver blue line.
This period brought to you by the bold new 2015 Toyota Camry. One bold choice leads to another.
Derek Dorsett trying to get position on Adam Party. It's not easy to do. He's a big, strong guy. He's found a home in Winnipeg. Knows exactly what he's supposed to do under head coach Paul Maurice, and made sure that Dorsett wasn't able to get in front of the net.
Canucks won the face-off, but Kenny's pass back was intercepted. Now he picks up one of his own at the blue line and feeds Bo Horvat. Moving in on Trouba, who stood him up. Kennins throws a hit in the corner as he took out Stempniak. Puck to the far side. Chalustey dumps it ahead. Jets for a chance for a 3-on-2. Now it's a 3-on-1. Slater moving in. Centers the puck. Trouba couldn't handle it as it was just deflected a bit by Spiza. Now a centering pass by Stempniak, and Slater couldn't handle that one. A couple close calls for the Jets and a couple of passes that just missed, and the Canucks clear the zone. Slater slams the ice in frustration as he heads to the bench.
2 3-on-1s and no shot on goal.
Weber breaks up that foray through center ice and dumps the puck into the Winnipeg zone. Inside 2 minutes remaining in the first. Enstrom. Pass for Scheifele. He takes the puck behind his own net. Now Stafford off the glass and out. Gloved down by Handhus. He's under pressure, but able to fend it off for the moment. Stafford collects the puck and carries it on the left wing. Hit by Weber as he played the puck to the corner. Bonino to Chris Higgins. Myers pressures him, but Higgins able to get the puck to neutral ice. Enstrom fan on his pass. Canucks try to take advantage. Scheifele there to help out. He backhands the puck into the Vancouver zone. Edler drops for Henrik Sedin. Puck winds up on the stick of Tanev. We're in the final minute of the first. Canucks trying to move the puck in, and they're offside as once again Burrows preceded the puck over the blue line. 2015 ICC World Cup of Cricket continues. You can catch it live and in HD. Special semifinal and final match packages available now. Visit getcricket.ca.
Australia versus India. That should be the match. Australia, 4-time champion. India twice.
You're making me look bad now.
I've been reading up on my
I know, I just read the script. You read up on the sport. Here's a steal by Daniel Sedin, looking in front. Centering pass comes back to Tanev. Henrik Sedin round for Daniel Sedin. Into the corner for Henrik again. 35 seconds to go in the first. Sedin's trying to create a late chance. Henrik took a swing at that puck. Now he tries to poke it in front. Andrew Ladd gets it. Can't clear it the first time, but he does the second, and the Jets move through center. For a late check, however, and Daniel Sedin plays the puck up for Henrik. Henrik checked. Puck cleared to center. Here's Henrik Sedin in on the left wing as we welcome those who've been watching Montreal and Nashville. It's 1-0 Winnipeg. Late chance to the side, and Sean Matthias stopped by Michael Hutchinson. And that should do it for period one here at Rogers Arena. Yuri Talusti, the only goal of the game. Michael Hutchinson stopped all 12 shots he faced as the Canucks outshot Winnipeg 12-10. The hockey game, one part of this night. The other is the Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon. Lots of that coming up in our first intermission. Jets lead 1-0.
Welcome back to Vancouver. Critical 2 points on the line in the Western Conference. Jets open the scoring just over 2 minutes into this one. They lead 1-0 over the Canucks. John?
Murph, before we start the second period, let's check out John Garrett's Fresh Take. Brought to you by Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
Well, it's fresh to look at somebody who is an RFA. Chris Tanev signs his new contract. How about Lucas Sbisa? Good first period, getting some good scoring chances. The only player on the Canucks to have over 100 hits and over 100 blocked shots. And when he hits hard. And that's our fresh take from the first period. A look at the restricted free agent, Lucas Sbisa.
Just under 5.5 minutes played in the first period. Meanwhile, we remind you, if you can, are able to, please support the Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon going on all night. There's the number, 1-855-KIDS-FUN, 1-855-437-3863. Whatever you can afford, they would most appreciate it. Worthy cause being supported here tonight. On a night the Canucks take on the Jets, and we're set to start period number 2. Winnipeg leading 1-0. Eddie Lack in goal for the Canucks. Michael Hutchinson for Winnipeg, and underway in the second with Dan Hamhuis controlling the puck. Henrik Sedin couldn't handle the pass at center. Jets turn the puck into the Vancouver zone. Weber goes back. Gets the puck to Hamhuis, ahead to Daniel Sedin. Now Weber joins the rush. Ahead to Alex Burrows, who tips the puck in behind the Winnipeg goal. Hutchinson can't get it by Daniel Sedin. Here's Henrik, missed the pass. Burrows goes after the puck. Blue line feed Weber. Down to Henrik Sedin again. Had trouble negotiating the pass. Daniel gets the puck, works his way to the corner. Now back to Weber. Long slap shot, blocked by Andrew Ladd. And the Winnipeg captain sends the puck forward to Michael Frolik, who tips it into the Vancouver zone and starts a change. Daniel Sedin from his own zone. Long lead pass goes off Nick Bonino. Tyler Myers winds up with the puck for the Jets. Banks it ahead towards Stafford. Higgins barely unable to hold it in, and the whistle blows on the offside.
Willie Desjardins talked about the Winnipeg Jets and their physical style of play. And John, you know how I comment on the hits every now and then and question some of the stats.
You mean every night?
Well, tonight I think they're legit.
Okay.
As hits were 16-7 in favor of the Jets in the first period. They came out and they're trying to set the tone. This is the way they like to play.
That game in here last time Winnipeg was at Rogers Arena, maybe the most physical game we've seen this season. Scheifele forces the puck over the Vancouver line. Chris Tanev sends it the other way. Here's Bonino. Scheifele knocked the puck from him. Wheeler drops it back. And now Myers turns in his own zone. Leaves the puck for Tobias Enstrom. Wheeler flips one ahead. Tanev there to intercept. Myers can't get a puck past Bonino. He sends one across. Puck winds up on the stick of Alex Edler. Now Tanev up to Ronnie Kennins, who tips the puck into Winnipeg territory. Drew Stafford. Ahead for Jim Slater, who tried to play chip and chase. Spisa's over for the puck, cuts in front of his own goal. Fights off the check of Slater. Now a pass to Bo Horvat, who finds some room, moves in on the right wing on the backhand, cutting in front, shoot, stopped by Hutchinson. As Horvat turned on the Jets and cut in front on goal. Now he's after the puck at center, spinning away from the check of Slater, but the puck knocked away by Adam Pardy and played in behind the Vancouver goal. Spiza up for Hansen, tried to leave for Horvat. He wasn't expecting the pass, and Kevin Bieksa comes back and intercepts just before the pass got through to Yuri Tsalusti. 2.5 minutes into the second, 1-0 Winnipeg. Canucks with the only shot of the first. That was Horvat's foray off the wing. Eric Odell in deep for Chris Thorburn. 2 Canucks are on him. Thorburn keeps after the puck. Hansen's at the end of his shift. So too is Ronald's Kennons. They'd like to get off the ice. And Bieksa will try to facilitate that by playing the puck down into the Winnipeg zone. 3 minutes into the second. And the puck tipped in by Odell. Back out of his net, helps it to the far side for Sean Mathias. He was checked. Puck sent towards Lack. Bieksa let it go. I'm not sure Eddie Lack was expecting that, but he was able to hold it out. Lyndon Vay checked at his own line. Here's Frolik down the left wing with a shot into the glove of Lack. And he hangs on for the whistle.
I don't know whether Kevin Bieksa was afraid he was going to deflect this one in towards his own net. Here comes the pass. It's rolling, and at the last second, and Eddie Lack wisely had his pad down just in case.
Couple shots for the Jets now. That one and the Frolik bid off the left wing. Following that, this face-off, Lowry against Henrik Sedin. Jets control, long shot from the line, and through traffic, Lack made a right pad save. Henrik Sedin ahead for Daniel Sedin, missed the pass, but he chases after the puck on the left side. Tried to ring it around for Burrows, cut off by the goaltender, who passes to the corner. And Myers headmans the puck. Now it's thrown rink wide to Enstrom. Lead pass, Ladd had a chance to get him behind Handuse. He tracks the puck onto the inboards. Burrows there trying to help out for Vancouver. Frolik winds up with the puck to the blue line. Myers trying to find a shooting lane. Dumps the puck in around. Weber missed it. Frolik into the corner for Lowry. In deep for Frolik. Trying to cycle once more. Broken up, but the Jets get the puck back. Now it's onto the stick of Handuse, who backhands it to the line, held in by Enstrom, and then by Frolik. Canucks can't clear. Handuse dangerously in front. He put Weber in a tough spot. But the Canucks, again, fail to get the puck out, held in by Myers. Jets are changing with the puck in the offensive zone. Daniel Sedin comes back to intercept. Gives it away. Here's a chance for Trouba, long shot, and that deflected wide of the goal. Stafford into the corner. Jets with fresh legs. Eddie Lack's lost his goal stick. Jets trying to take advantage. Stafford from behind the goal. Here's Scheifele from the corner. Centers the puck. Wheeler. Back to Stewart. Down to Stafford. Now it's Weber's lost his stick. So the defenseman and the goaltender without their sticks, and it's in the net. It got to the goal line. Bonino tried to pull it out, but the puck got in, and it's 2-0 Winnipeg.
Boy, oh boy, the Canucks just couldn't get the puck out of their own zone, and you can see Willie Desjardins. A couple of changes for the Jets, and about 30 seconds before the puck finally goes in there, Eddie Lack's got his stick all tangled up in the net, has lost it. Comes around, and you can see Nick Bonino's trying to pull it out. Yannick Weber's trying to play it with his skate.
Wheeler jammer.
Yeah, they might give it to Wheeler. I don't know whether he was the one or it went off Weber's skate or Nick Bonino. Bonino was trying to give his stick to Yannick Weber.
Jets with one in the first, now one in the second. And a 2-0 lead in this all-important game at Rogers Arena. And what a prolonged shift that was in the Vancouver zone. Jets able to make their change and get all those fresh bodies out there. And it wound up with a 2-0 goal as Lack now covers up.
Well, how many times they have it 2 feet from the blue line and couldn't get it out? Yannick Hansen had it. Daniel Sedin had it. The Jets just kept the puck in. You could see Blake Wheeler there with the cage on. He was hit in the face last night in the first period and missed the second. You see that big gash on his lip. Came back for the third.
Stafford's goal, or pardon me, Wheeler's goal from Stafford is how they're scoring. So did poke it in from the goal line as Bonino was trying to pull the puck out the other way. Fans react to a hit by Derek Dorsey. Now Mathias trying to pull his way in front. Vey gets the puck to the line to Edler. His shot blocked. Vey in deep for Dorsey. Puck hits by both Dorsey and Party. Jay Harrison for Winnipeg. Being hounded by Sean Mathias. Pass hit to Lusty, who now shovels the puck to the side, and Party throws it ahead for Lee Stempniak. He's checked. Tannen. Checked by Stempniak. Brings the puck to the side. Backhander stopped by Lack. Jets the more energetic team right now. Played last night, but at this time of year you find energy anywhere. And Winnipeg has it right now. 7 shots in the period already to just 1 for Vancouver. Puck dumped into the Winnipeg zone. Kennings moves in on the forecheck. Puck comes free to Haluschuk, and he tips it outside the line. Lucas Spiza to Jannik Hansen. Carries in, dishes off, Horvath. Trying to get around Haluschuk. Runs into Trouba, who's now hit by Kennings in the corner. Puck loose on the far side. Spiza down after Hansen. Turning on the end boards. Trouba trying to stay with him. Hansen turning this way and that. And then that way again. Trouba finally knocks the puck away. And it's tipped out by Thorburn. Bieksa dumps it back into the Winnipeg zone, and both teams are changing in the neutral zone. Burrows after the puck. Jets play it away from him. Here's Mark Stewart lifting one high to center. Waiting for the puck is Frolik, but it bounced past him. Weber tips it ahead to Dan Hanhus. Lead pass to Alex Burrows. He drops to Henrik Sedin. In front for Daniel. Couldn't get a shot away. Now he tries to turn and center. Pass deflects to the far corner. Into the skates of the official. Frolik gives it away to Burrows. Back to Weber. He shoots, and that one went off Ladd and wide of the goal. Weber again. Hit in the corner by Ladd. Daniel Sedin helps the puck along to Dan Hanhus. He puts one to the goal, and Hutchinson will grab that puck and hang on for the whistle. Jets have added another one. Derek Dorsett trying to spark his team. Pretty good hit on Harrison.
Well, much talk around these parts about the hit that Alex Burrows took Saturday afternoon in Los Angeles. Tyler Toffoli delivering it. It was an ugly one. He got 5 in a game for it. The Canucks would score the game winner on the power play, but after that there was nothing, no hearing, no fine, and the Canucks weren't happy about it. They thought there should have been some supplemental discipline. They talked to the Department of Player Safety, thought there was even history in that game. A little perplexed, but they say they talk pretty much every time there's an incident involving one of their players, and they got an explanation, but nobody else did, at least not the public.
I call them every now and then to get some things explained, and they usually have it all well prepared.
Canucks won that game in Los Angeles. Won the next night in Arizona. They've got their work cut out if they're going to make it another one here. Winnipeg leading 2-0 just past the 8-minute mark of the second. Higgins forces the puck to the Jets line. Here's Toby Enstrom. Ahead for Stafford. Now Scheifele picks up the puck and moves in. Trying to get around Edler. The puck hit him in the skate, and Edler's able to poke it free to Radim Bravado. Higgins on the left wing wants the pass. And offside as he tried to spin and move in after the puck, and the whistle blows.
Radim Bravado has been one of the most consistent Canucks all year long, no matter who he plays with, and leads the Canucks in goals per 60 minutes. He always seems to hit the net. His shooting percentage has decreased because he shoots from long range, but once he gets in, we showed his 15-foot radius. He's pretty deadly from in close. Goalie usually has to make a save, and there's usually a rebound.
22 points in his last 26 games. There's a shot by Frolik. Eddie Lack got the stick on it and steered the puck over the glass to his left.
And you can see the Canucks talking things over here. They're having trouble getting any kind of forecheck going and getting any kind of sustained pressure.
Vancouver will make a full change here after Paul Maurice elected to stick with his personnel. Bo Horvat out to take the draw against Adam Lowry. Horvat looked to have it won, but the Jets able to poke the puck back to Harrison. His shot blocked by Horvat. Now the puck centered. Ladd chops it to the side of the goal. Hughes picks it off the inboards. Pass to Kennings, who was forced back, and now Lowry has the puck. Weber trying to knock it away from him. Lowry from behind the goal. Hughes knocked the puck off his stick. It's in skates. Now shot to the line, held in by Pardy. Lowry to Frolik. Wrist shot blocked. Hughes from the corner. And again, the Jets trying to hem the Canucks in their own zone. Slater feeds it into behind the net. And Winnipeg starts to change with the puck in the offensive end. Hughes off the glass. Can't get it by Chalewski. Here's Slater to the corner. Turning with the puck. Canucks poke it ahead to Kennings. And he chops it down the ice. Hutchinson out to play the puck. Leaves for Toby Enstrom. Canucks able to make their change. Jets drive the puck the other way. Lax out of his net to play it. Here's Edler. Pass blocked and knocked down with a high stick, they say. So the whistle blows in the Vancouver zone. 9:59 to go in the second. We're halfway through the game and the Jets lead by a pair.
Everybody would love to see 30 games and 30 nights in different arenas, and this man's doing it. Rob Suggett, a super fan. There's a charitable component to this for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You're trying to raise $30,000. You're 11 games in, and you've raised?
I've raised 11,000 and change, so I'm on pace to do the 30,000.
When did you come up with the idea?
I thought about this 10 years ago, and I've dreamed about doing it, put it off, and I finally said, let's do it this year.
What building has been best so far, and what are you most looking forward to?
Well, I like this building a lot. It's terrific. The fans are awesome. Actually, a big surprise for me was the Tampa Bay building. The fans there are knowledgeable hockey fans. Their area outside the arena before the game starts is exciting with live bands playing, and there's kiosks there for people to grab a bite and have a drink before the game.
Well, congratulations on this, and best luck the rest of the way.
Thanks very much.
Planes, trains, automobiles. Henrik Sedin with a centering pass, shot wide by Edler. Snuck in back door. And one of the best chances the Canucks have had. Here's Scheifele the other way. Poke check in the Vancouver blue line. Wheeler gets the puck and drops it back to Enstrom. Jets will change after Scheifele tipped the puck in behind the Canuck goal. Nick Bonino through center. Drop pass, Verbata. Higgins shoots, scores! Chris Higgins off the rush, and the Canucks cut the lead in half.
Okay, which one should have gone in? The Alex Edler or the Chris Higgins?
The old goalie in you says?
Yes. Well, I think this one hit Mark Stewart's stick, so I'm going to let Michael Hutchinson off the hook a little bit. Nice drop pass, and look at this backhand pass by Radim Verbata. And you can see from Hutchinson's reaction that that did hit Mark Stewart's stick. Stewart reaches over, and the puck goes right through Hutchinson. And Chris Higgins, quick one-timer on the beautiful backhand pass by Radim Verbata.
Another Canuck into double digits in goals. Vancouver among the league leaders in that category. Higgins gets his 10th. Here's Spiezza with a shot, stopped by Hutchinson. Rebound in front. Hutchinson the save on the backhander that rode up his goal stick, but he's able to hang on and get the whistle.
And the Canucks a little life after the goal by Chris Higgins. Shot from the point, and again it's Stewart right in front of Hutchinson, and Hutchinson's able to find the rebound.
Canucks are on the board. We have a winner on Score and Win for Safeway and Nabob Coffee. From Vancouver, we congratulate Stephen Sturgeon. You've won a Hoover Air Cordless Vacuum. We suggest Mr. Sturgeon go nowhere near Sean Mathias. Might reel him in. Here's Kevin Bieksa. Trying to risk one on goal. Ladd was in the shooting lane. And Frolik skates the other way for the Jets. Steps around Spiza. The X over to knock the puck away. And here's the aforementioned Mathias trying to find Lyndon Veg. Dorsett was thinking all body, no puck. And the Jets wind up with it. Frolik in on the right wing. Hooks the puck down the boards. Lowry's after it. Adam Lowry centers. Quick shot by Frolik. Winds up in the corner. The exit trying to clear. Adam Carty moves down from the line. Carty hooked. Play goes on. Jets might have had a beef there. Frolik holds the puck in deep. Brings it in front and slides it just through the crease and out the near side. Under 8 minutes to go in the second. Winnipeg leading 2-1. Lowry hooks the puck around to the far side, and Carty's there to hold it in. Thorburn on the right wing. Plays one behind the goal. Winnipeg will start to change as Spiza starts out with the puck. Pass to Derek Dorsett. He'd like to start a change as well. He was knocked to the ice. He didn't like that as he went back at Halaschuk. Now Bieksa bodied by Thorburn. Bieksa trying to tie the puck up. It's dug free. Onto it is Halaschuk. He comes towards the front. It was poke checked by Eddie Lack. They clears the puck ahead and out. And Dorsett trying to force it in to facilitate the change. He and Kennins are after the puck. Brought out by Enstrom. Lead pass to Drew Stafford. Halaschuk fighting to hold the puck in. Here's Stafford making a move to the corner. Bringing it in front. Quick shot stopped by Lack with the glove as Scheifele tested him in close.
That's a good save by Eddie Lack at a critical time for the Canucks. Dan Hamhuis beaten wide. Scheifele right down the middle. And look what I got. Eddie Lack, glove open, facing the shooter. And sometimes the puck will go right in.
Look what I found. Face off in the Vancouver zone. Puck played to the line. Trouba holds it in. Around for Stafford. Tanev trying to stay with him. Stafford plays the puck back to Mark Stewart. He bobbled it. Now he's under pressure from Hansen. But did well to keep possession of the puck and shoot it back into the Vancouver zone. Scheifele reverses. Tanev after the puck. Canucks come up with it. Here's Kennins at center. Last week he might have tried a drop pass there. This week he dumps it in. Entler trying to force the puck in behind the goal. Trouba gets it. Lead pass picked off by Tanev. A little over 6 minutes left in the first, or in the second, pardon me. 2-1 Winnipeg. Canucks will start a change after Kennins tipped the puck in deep. Here's Henrik Sedin stealing, looking in front. Nobody there to get a stick on it. Hamhuis on the other side. Round behind for Henrik Sedin. Pass in front, just out of the reach of Daniel. Weber gets the puck and plays it to the corner. Daniel Sedin. Checked by Trouba, gloves the puck up the boards. And the Jets Frolik is able to clear it out. Weber, long lead pass, and the Sedins move in. Henrik to Daniel. To the side for Burrows, trying to deflect the puck in front. Jets come up with it. Talusti. Weber intercepted his lead pass, and the Canucks try to break back. Hamhuis through center, moving in, drops off. Henrik Sedin towards the goal. That went wide of the net. Weber can't hold it in. Stempniak tips it down the ice. And no icing as Higgins goes back for the puck. See what the fans thought of that.
I think they thought there should have been an icing call.
Hardy. Stempniak, bodied by Bonino. Higgins gets the puck. Verbata's after it. And the penalty coming up now.
Verbata just got chopped.
Verbata favoring his right hand and wrist. And there'll be a slashing call against Winnipeg. Talusti heading to the box. Canucks to the power play. When we return to Rogers Arena.
Did you know you can become a Canucks season ticket member for as low as $59 a month after deposit? Memberships for next season available now, starting with 11 game ice packs. Visit Canucks.com/memberships for details.
Yuri Talusti in the penalty box.
Right in the center of the slot area. Radim Verbata had the puck, and Talusti just chopped him across the wrist and ends up with the slashing penalty.
Canucks have lamented for months Their power play letting them down at crucial moments, but it came up big in both road games on the weekend. The winning goal both in LA and Arizona coming with a man advantage. First opportunity in this game. Daniel Sedin from below the goal line up to Henry. Here's Weber. Left point Edler. Back to Yannick Weber. Takes a look. Feeds Henrik Sedin in front. Tipped by Daniel. Vrbata on the rebound. Couldn't jam it home. Vrbata to Weber. Edler at the left point. Slap pass. Vrbata. Stopped by Hutchinson. Henrik Sedin to Daniel Sedin. Back up to Henrik. Weber. One-timer. And that one stopped as well. Minute 15 to go on the power play. Here's Daniel Sedin to Henrik Sedin. Canucks trying to tie the game. Henrik looking across. Now goes to Daniel. Brings the puck in front. Vrbata took a chop at it. It winds up in the corner. Slater trying to check Henrik. Might have got a high stick. Slater complaining to the officials. Play goes on. Edler in front. Daniel tipped that well wide. Vrbata keeps the puck alive. Henrik down to Daniel. Puck's been in the zone the whole time. He fires back. Weber with room. Henrik Sedin. Back to Weber. Down to Edler. Fans want a shot. Weber to Henrik. Back to Weber. Lets it go. He scores! They wanted a shot. They got a shot. And Weber ties the game at 2.
Well, the Jets won the face-off to start that power play. Never got it out. And the puck never left the entire power play time. And finally, the point shot from right in the middle finds a way, and look at Daniel Sedin jumping. He's the screen. I don't think it hit him on the way through. It might have hit Jacob Trouba. Yes, it did. Hutchinson's almost pointing at his own defenseman as it's off Trouba and in.
Another goal from a defenseman. Canucks got a couple in the Coyotes game. Weber had one of them. And he evens this game at 16:29 of the second period. Jets had the 2-0 lead. Game back to square. Now a chance for Winnipeg. Scheifele stopped by Lack, and he hangs on for the whistle. Mark Scheifele's had a couple of close-in chances this period, but Lack there to make the save.
Boy, shift after a goal. The Canucks get trapped in their own zone, just fired around the boards. There's nobody there. And the Jets keep it in. Pass out in front to Scheifele, and again, he's robbed by Eddie Lack, point blank. Drew Stafford has set up Scheifele a couple of times now in the slot.
Kevin Bieksa with a pass to Alex Burrows. He dumps the puck out. Chris Higgins gives chase. Jets come up with the puck. Enstrom to Myers. And ahead to Haluschuk. Spiza steps into him as Haluschuk plays the puck in the corner. Andrew Ladd throws it back. Enstrom lets it go with a slap pass. Haluschuk couldn't chip it on goal. Trying to steal the puck back from Bonino, but is brought out by Lucas Spiza. He found on his pass. Now he forces the puck over the Winnipeg line. Burrows trying to throw it in front. He was hit hard and knocked down. Higgins finds Bonino. Back to Bieksa. Takes a look. Shot blocked. And Haluschuk, who blocked it, turns and fires ahead to Lowry. Onto the right wing, Ladd. Stops. Now tries to throw one in front. Puck winds up on the stick of Derek Dorsett. He flips it down inside the Winnipeg line. Harrison being pursued by Vey. Hardy's pass off the stick. Puck winds up at center. Stafford plays it over the Vancouver line. Tanev moves back on Scheifele. Puck up by Stafford. Canucks trying to move it out. Mathias checked to the blue line by Pardy. Final 2 minutes of the second. Edler tips the puck around to the near side. Chris Tanev is onto it. Flips one and rolls it down into the Winnipeg zone. Pardy wins that race. And icing is the unpopular call at Rogers Arena. Canucks with a power play goal tie the game. A winner on score and win for Safeway and Nabob Coffee. From Terrace, Jacqueline Jensen, congratulations. You've won a Garmin Verb Elite HD action camera.
Well, Yannick Weber could really shoot the puck, and they had such problems with their power play in Los Angeles. They gave up 3 breakaways short-handed, and there's that shot just inside the post by Yannick Weber.
Lee Stempniak with a sharp angle shot off the blocker of Eddie Lack. Myers throws one towards the goal, steered away by Lack, chipped up by Dorsett. He gives chase at center. Stempniak there, covering for the defense, feeds back to Tyler Myers. Canucks make their change after the icing. Enstrom lead pass. Daniel Sedin got in the way of that. He pokes the puck to Henrik. Canucks break in. Henrik to Daniel. Backhander off the side of the goal. Vrbata gets the puck in the corner, trying to bank one in. The puck comes to Henrik Sedin on the left wing. Vrbata taking a shift here with the Sedins after Burrows took a turn with Bonino and Higgins. Now here's a chance for Vrbata to cut in on goal. He dekes, he shoots, he scores! Three in a row for the Canucks, and Vancouver has its first lead.
We have talked about Radim Vrbata and what skills he has, and we've seen them these last 3 games. Passing, shooting, and this one just deking Michael Hutchinson. Wait for the goalie to make the move and pull it by him. Look at it. Head up, and look at Hutchinson. He's thinking shot all the way. He's committed to the shot, and then in desperation, he's going to flop down, and Vrbata about 2 feet up into the net.
Higgins at 10:57. Weber on the power play at 16:29. And now Radim Vrbata with exactly a minute to go in the second. And the Canucks lead 3-2. Henrik and Daniel Sedin the assists. Frolik trying to pick up a puck inside the Vancouver blue line. Now Ladd is checked. Horvat trying to force the puck the other way. Kennins couldn't move it out, but Horvat does. Frolik back in on the right side. Forces one in front, cleared away by Weber, held in by Trouba. And the Jets try to take advantage. Here's a pass in front. Stewart shoots, blocked by Horvat, who sprawled to get in front of that one. Canucks break out with numbers. 15 seconds to go in the period. Kennan shoots, glove save, and Hutchinson hangs on. He stopped that one, but he couldn't stop Radim Vrbata, and that produced another winner on Score and Win for Safeway and Nabob Coffee. Anthony Francis of Chilliwack. He won a Lagostina 10-piece cookware set.
Here's another look at it. Watch Radim Vrbata. Head up. See what the goalie's going to do. And Hutchinson committed to the shot, and as soon as Vrbata went wide, he was in desperation mode.
11 seconds to go in the period. Jets win a face-off in their own zone. Enstrom couldn't clear. Puck played to the far side. Edler's after. Tries to put it in front. Bonino centers. Chance for Higgins. Loose puck in the crease, and the horn sounds. One last flurry around the Winnipeg net. But Hutchinson able to hold the puck out, and it'll be a 1-goal Canuck lead after 2.
Oh, Michael Hutchinson finds this one. It's just squeaking through. Time running out. Myers is there. It's hard to get by him, and Hutchinson able to find it.
It was 2-0 Winnipeg not too long ago. Chris Higgins started the Vancouver comeback. Weber and Vrbata have vaulted the Canucks into the lead. And hey, it's easier to be generous when you're in a good mood, right, Canucks fans? The telethon continues. We're back in a moment.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast, the Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon. The updated total so far, $228,408 is where we are right now. You can still donate. You can go to online as well, Canucks.com. For more on the game, let's go down to Murph. Dan?
Thank you, George. Let's take a look at the scoring summary, which is brought to you by Panago Pizza. Before, during, or after the game, get a fresh Panago. Wheeler made it 2-0 for the Jets, but then 3 unanswered. Higgins, Weber, Vrbata, the home team, with a 1-goal lead. John?
Thank you, Murph. Quite the turnaround in the second period. Eddie Lack made a couple of sharp saves off Mark Scheifele. Could have been a different story if not for that. And the Jets have continued to press here. Michael Hutchinson in goal for Winnipeg. And he faced a late flurry that kept his team within 1 with a couple of stops as well. 3-2 Canucks heading to the third. Both teams have been watching the out-of-town scoreboard nervously, man. And it's become a nightly ritual.
Doesn't seem to ever be any help. Los Angeles goes on the road. You think, okay, and they won back-to-back nights. Minnesota is 10 in a row on the road.
Adam Lowry plays the puck into the Vancouver zone. Eddie Lack leaves for Dan Hanhus, around for Alex Burrows. Can't move it up the boards. Lowry in deep again. Canucks will try the near side. Daniel Sedin drops off for Hanhus. Ahead to Henrik Sedin. Forced into making a quick pass. Ladd intercepts, centers the puck right through the slot, and Burrows gets it out. Sedin's with a chance for a 2-on-1, but the long reach of Tyler Myers there to play the puck the other way, and Ladd sends it into the Vancouver zone. Alex Edler's onto the ice. Tanev takes that pass off his skate. Ahead to Nick Bonino. Can't get the puck down the boards. Now he forces it down. Vrbata centers. Higgins shoots. Stopped by Hutchinson. Another beautiful pass from Radim Vrbata, but Higgins denied his second of the game. Here's Vrbata from the corner. Trying to throw one in front. Puck deflects to the left wing. Higgins. Shot. Ricochets right to Stafford. He headmans the puck to Blake Wheeler. Wheeler tried to get it in. That went off the stick of Edler and over the glass for a whistle.
Radim Vrbata throws one 60 feet to Chris Higgins right on the tape. Higgins a quick shot, and this time Hutchinson has time to come over and make the save.
Here's what we were talking about.
Wild just continue to roll. Jets right there.
Bunched up to say the least, and the Kings nipping at the heels of both Vancouver and Winnipeg. Calgary tied with LA in points. Lucas Spiza up the near side. Kennan's body. Slater holds the puck in. Hits Horvat with it. He hooks it across to Yannick Hintz. Tried to flip it forward. That was blocked. Now Horvat takes the lead pass. Moves in. Cuts wide. Shoots, and a blocker saved by Hutchinson. Puck was hit with a high stick. Whistle blows, but two early key stops from Michael Hutchinson to start the third.
Well, this time on Bo Horvat. He tries to get it wide enough so he can get the shot through. Party stick on stick, and Hutchinson makes the save. The Jets have 4 home games coming up, and Andre Pavlich, you would think, would be back in for those. Montreal, Chicago, the Rangers, and then the Canucks. The last game of their road trip are in Winnipeg a week from Saturday.
That's April the 4th. Is it almost April already?
Yes.
Chris Tanev, bodied by Yuri Tsalusti. Tsalusti after the puck again. Sends a backhander towards the goal. That was blocked. Vang tips the puck to the other side. Tanev's onto it. Long lead pass. Vang settles the puck. Chips it off the glass and behind the Winnipeg goal. Enstrom up the middle. Slater passes to an open wing. Weber there hooks the puck over to Hanhus. Mathias wants the lead pass. Was in his skates. Couldn't take it clean. Canucks keep after the puck. Ladd ahead to Frolik, pressured by Hanhus. Now Ladd has room to skate with the puck. Quick shift to the inside and a pass to Lowry. Wide on Weber. Weber bodies him in the corner. Lowry stays on his feet and keeps after the puck. Now hooks it towards Ladd, comes back to Lowry. He shoots, and Lack through traffic makes the save. Lowry again, trying to wrap around Lack to stop. Loose puck clear to the side. There's a Vancouver penalty on the play. I think it's going to be Yannick Weber heading off for holding, and the Canucks will be shorthanded.
Well, Adam Lowry strong on the boards on Yannick Weber, and then Lowry brings it around, and Weber has to tackle Frolik in front of the net. Here's Lowry with the wraparound try. Eddie Lack makes the save, and Frolik's there, and Yannick Weber with the right hand grabs him and hauls him down.
Second power play for the Jets, and a chance to tie the hockey game inside the 3-minute mark of the third period. Face-off win for Bonino. Edler tips the puck to Tanev. He gets it ahead to Higgins, who deflects it down the ice. Here's Mark Scheifele. That pass out of the reach of Wheeler. Edler dumps the puck the other way, and the Jets have to start from their own zone once more. 25 seconds gone in the penalty to Yannick Weber. Wheeler plays the puck in from center. Scheifele checked by Tanev. Passes around for Hansen. Couldn't catch up with the puck. Here's Drew Stafford. Down for Wheeler. Puck hit him in the skate. Tanev gets it ahead out of the reach of Mathias. And Hutchinson out to play the puck to Tyler Myers. Mathias pressures in. Keeps the puck deep in the Winnipeg zone.
That's the first time it looked like Blake Wheeler was having trouble looking through that mask that he's got on. The puck was in his skates and he just couldn't find it.
Here's Salustian on the left wing. Drops off for Frolik. He's checked by Bieksa. Bonino in traffic trying to move the puck. Stempniak comes up with it. Back to Enstrom. Lee Stempniak again. Jets set up. Frolik from behind the goal. Banks the puck to Jacob Trouba. 40 seconds to go in the power play. Frolik on the right side. Back to Trouba with room. Drags to the middle. Jake Trouba to Michael Frolik. One-timer deflected. Stopped by Lack trying to cover it. Still loose and the whistle blows. With Bieksa dragging Stempniak out of the way. 32 seconds left in the Winnipeg power play. Murph.
Breaking the action, we can tell you that Safeway's featured participating product for tonight's game is Nabob Coffee.
Eddie Lack looking up to see how that one got through. There was a mass of humanity in front of the net. Shot tipped twice. Eddie Lack able to get the left leg down to make the save.
First unit back out for the Jets. Just over 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. Little past the 4-minute mark of the third. 3-2 Canucks, and off the draw, Daniel Sedin able to golf the puck all the way down the ice.
See, one of the things you're talking about, the general managers at the last meeting, was face-off. The defensive team is going to have to put the stick down first, no matter home or away. Not a bad rule. Create more offense.
Sedin's controlling at center, killing some time. Now they move in on the attack. Daniel fell down. Henrik takes the puck to the corner. Weber steps back onto the ice. Winnipeg 0 for 2 on the power play. And Wheeler offside as Stafford tried to break into the Vancouver zone.
Paul Maurice looking on and looking up at the clock. His power play had some chances. And the best chance was that shot from the point. It looked like the Canuck goal on their power play. Get the puck to the middle and get the shot through. This time Eddie Lack was able to make the save.
Jets, as I mentioned, 0 for 2 with the man advantage. Canucks are 1 for 1, and that makes Vancouver 3 for 6 in the last 3 games. Jets have the puck in the Vancouver zone. Into the corner, Frolik. Around for Ladd, trying to pull away from Weber. Weber dumps the puck ahead, no icing. Hansen will give chase on Trouba. Trouba takes a look. Decides to carry out a bit before passing to Lowry. Now Frolik backhands the puck over the Vancouver line. Bieksa trying to chip it free. Ladd gets it. Centering pass blocked by Horvat. Bieksa around to the other side. Hansen's after the puck. Tips it ahead. Kennins moves in on Trouba. Ronnie Kennins with 6 hits in the game already. That might be number 7 as he stepped into Trouba in the corner.
John, you talked about Ronnie Kennins being benched last week, and he has really come back and got back to that physical style that endeared him to the coaches when he first got here.
Matt Halischuk in. Plays the puck to the near corner. Thorburns after for Winnipeg. Bieksa makes a move to the near side. Pass to Bonino. Tried to play it into the middle. That was blocked. Thorburn got in the way of it. The Jets keep after the puck in the Vancouver zone. Now it deflects back to Lack. He'll take the whistle with the Canucks a little discombobulated in their own zone. A little over 6 into the third, and the Canucks lead Winnipeg by 1.
With this exclusive offer, you can fly from Victoria to Vancouver with transfers to and from Rogers Arena and watch a Canucks game from lower bowl seats for only $299, and you'll even get home the same night. Go to Canucks.com/AirCanucks to book now.
Voice of Dan Murphy, John Shorthouse, John Garrett, and the Jim Robson broadcast gondola on Canucks for Kids Telethon night. And the numbers you can call to donate, try to boost this total to help kids around the province of BC. Canucks leading 3-2, face-off in the Vancouver zone. Myers forces the puck in deep, takes it around behind the net. Knocked away by Tannen. Wheeler trying to keep it alive for Winnipeg. Thrown towards the front, knocked away by Higgins, and Myers collects the puck at his own blue line. Mark Scheifele to Drew Stafford, nicely to Scheifele in on the left wing, and the puck got away from him as he took a look to see where Wheeler was cutting towards the goal. Alex Edler out with the puck. Delays before throwing one across. He was trying to bank it to Higgins. That catches the Canucks in the middle of a change, but the Jets go offside, and Vancouver welcomes that whistle.
Great Canadian Oil Change. Family owned and operated. Superb customer service and new vehicle warranty approved products, including Valvoline Premium Oils. Great Canadian Oil Change. Over 60 locations across Canada.
That was a confusing line change for the Canucks right at their blue line in front of their bench. Okay, there's 3, 4, 5. There comes a body over. That was close.
Yeah. Puck back into the Vancouver zone. Winds up on the stick of Dan Hand. Slater's right on him. Stepniak as well, and now Toulouse plays the puck to the near corner. Weber. Hardy moves down to check him. He and Slater trying to make something happen deep in the Vancouver zone. Lyndon Vay gets the puck. And he shields it, carrying ahead. Tips it to the line, held in by Party, but now Dorset able to clear. Ahead for Sean Mathias. Checked by Jay Harrison, who plays the puck around for Slater. Slater takes a tumble. Mathias hustles to the puck. Vay in to help out. In front is Hansen. Vay circles the net. Tries to pass back. That's off his stick, and the puck is out to neutral ice. Lucas Spezak with a pass to Kevin Bieksa. Tried to backhand it forward. Blocked by Andrew Ladd. He passes through to Lowry, but Crowley in too soon. And the whistle blows. Tomorrow, Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. Doubleheader action. The Avalanche and the Oilers at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern on Sportsnet. And that's followed by the Stars and the Flames, 7 o'clock Pacific on Sportsnet 1.
Stars are playing very well, just almost as well as the Calgary Flames.
Hutchinson covers that long dump in. There'll be a face-off in the Winnipeg zone, a little over 8 minutes into the third. Shots hard to come by here in this period. 3 for the Canucks, 2 for Winnipeg in a 3-2 hockey game.
Winnipeg is trying to force the issue. We saw Adam Party in behind the goal line on his last shift.
Henrik Sedin on this draw. Lowry wins it cleanly for the Jets. Trouba from behind the goal. Burrows on him. Right in front of the official. Had to stick in there. Taking a look at it was Francis Charon, but play went on. Bieksa dumps the puck in. Burrows tags up. He'll head straight to the bench as the Canucks start a change. Jake Trouba dumps one in, taken on the short hop by Eddie Lack, and he'll hang on for the whistle. Henrik Sedin, 2 assists in this game, John. He's getting close to a big milestone.
Oh boy, he is getting up there. Look at the names that he's around. Andre Richard, better out. Doesn't have the 3,000 penalty minutes like Dale Hunter.
Still got a chance at it. Here's Kennons ahead to Horvat, trying to get loose. Bo Horvat in on goal. He shoots, stuff by Hutchinson, and the rebound cleared by Scheifele. That chemistry between Kennons and Horvat evident again. But Michael Hutchinson, his 3rd big stop of the period.
Tyler Myers with a good play coming back, forcing Horvat to shoot that from 25 feet.
Tannen trying to check Stafford inside the Vancouver blue line. Flips the puck out to center. Here's Tyler Myers. Pass ahead, knocked away by Edler. And onto the puck is Higgins, who drops it back to Alex Edler. Long lead pass. And Verbata didn't make contact. That's an icing call against Vancouver.
Well, here's the play. Cannons up to Horvat, a little backhand pass, and there's Myers without taking the penalty. At an angle on Bo Horvat, and made Horvat take the wrist shot. You see Bo Horvat, his confidence increasing with every game. I think that's the key to how his game has turned around. It was just making the NHL in his first number of games, and once he established himself now, prove he belongs.
No icing on this one. Jets bench not appreciative of that. Still in conversation with Brad Lazaro. It's just Paul Maurice. Now an offside call the Vancouver line, but Frolik lets the puck go, so the Canucks take it, fire it ahead. No icing on this one as Hutchinson comes out to play. Lowry skates to center. Ahead to Ladd. Now Frolik trying to get away from Hamhuis, who stood him up. Higgins fell down trying to clear the puck, and Higgins is shaken up. Appears to be favoring his left leg a bit, but he stays out there as he shakes it out in the neutral zone. Odell moves in with a long wrist shot into the glove of Eddie Lack. He'll hang on, take the whistle, and we'll take the break. 9:39 to go in the third. Canucks still leading by 1. I want to thank all the volunteers putting in the time tonight on the Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon. The phones are still open. They look busy, but we'd like to make them busier. And you can check out the numbers and call in, donate if you're able to.
Here's a look at Adam Lowry, and we'd like to congratulate his dad, my former teammate Dave Lowry. His Victoria team is playing Prince George starting Friday in the playoffs in the Western Hockey League. He was named head coach of Canada's World Junior team for 2016. He's assistant coach this year, gold medalist. I guess he'll be the head coach next year.
His son's been prominent in this game, as he was when the Jets were last in town. So Winnipeg trailing by 1, 9.5 minutes to go in the third. Tyler Myers, bodied by Burrows as he backhands the puck into the Vancouver zone. Edler and Daniel Sedin couldn't decide he was going to go after it. And Wheeler knocked Edler down. Enstrom backhands the puck down the boards. Wheeler grabbed by Edler. Puck thrown off the side of the net. Edler and Wheeler re-engage in the corner. They both go down this time. Scheifele after the puck in traffic. Then Wheeler knocked Daniel Sedin down. Canucks flip the puck into the Winnipeg zone. Enstrom goes back, and he'll start from behind his net. 8:45 to go in the third. Yuri Talusti's onto the ice, and he backhands the puck into his own bench. So the whistle blows. Here's Dan.
John, tonight's Safeway $1 million score and win grand prize winner will receive an all-inclusive trip for 2 to a Grand Bahia Principe Resort courtesy of redtag.ca, where Canada shops for great travel deals. Tonight's winner is Megan McDonald of Kamloops. Congratulations.
False start on a face-off outside the Vancouver blue line. They'll do it again. Bo Horvat against Jim Slater. Horvat able to win it. Weber risks the puck into Winnipeg territory. Trouba from behind the goal. Mark Stewart. Pass for Slater. Tips the puck forward. Canucks turn it the other way. Now Trouba trying to move in. Ran into Ronald Kennens, who tips the puck to Hansen. He dumps it in deep. Hansen moves in on Trouba, who turns to the corner, steps away from Kennens. Onto the puck is Slater. Ahead for Stempniak. Checked in the neutral zone by Dan Hamhuis. Trouba again. Through center. Over the Vancouver line. Wrist shot blocked by Hamhuis. 8 minutes left in the third. And the Canuck net knocked off. So the whistle blows for a face-off in the Vancouver zone.
Eddie Lack looks on.
Neither goalie's been busy this period. Hutchinson, the busier of the two. Lack's officially only faced one shot, and Hutchinson has made a trio of sparkling stops.
Yes. 2 on Bo Horvat.
So the Canucks, despite being hemmed in their own end a few times, haven't given up much in this third period, with the Jets trying to mount a comeback. Bonino can't get the puck past Lowry. He tries a shot on goal, blocked in front, and Lack falls on the puck before Lowry could get to it. As Lowry and Bieksa were battling in front, Spiza there as well.
Canuck bench thought that was knocked down with a high stick. Jets kept it in. Lucas Spiza doing a good job in front. Has his man. Don't worry about the puck. Take the man.
Another face-off win for Lowry. And a shot by Party. Deflected and wound up in the corner. Spiza deep in his own zone along the inboards to Bieksa. Verbata couldn't move it out. tried to shovel the puck back. Jets get it. Send it back. Party shoots. Blocked by Bonino. Now Bonino hit by Lowry as he clears the zone, and that's going to be an icing call against the Canucks. A little over 7 minutes to go in the third.
Michael Frolik almost got one out of the air after this face-off win. Shot by Party, knocked down by Lucas Sbisa, and it's in the air, and Frolik takes a whack at it. He's got half the net. If he could make contact, it's off Eddie Lack, but Frolik, spring training, lacking in the little base hit.
Sbisa tries to clear off the draw. Higgins able to chip the puck out. Wheeler let that pass go through. Now he picks up the puck. Runs into Henrik Sedin. Tanev lifts the puck ahead and out. 7 minutes to go in the third, and Myers controls once more. Here's Enstrom. Couldn't get the puck in deep. Myers follows up. Takes on Tanev. Down goes Myers. I don't know if he just lost an edge or if Tanev got his stick in there, but Myers is back up battling for the puck. Burrows tips it by his man, but covering at the point is Wheeler. Into the corner, Stafford. Pass intercepted by Edler. Throws one ahead to Henrik Sedin, back to Daniel, up to Henrik again. He's got two teammates with him as he moves in on the left wing. Henrik centers the puck, Burrows shoots, and a blocker save by Hutchinson coming across. Henrik to the blue line to Hamhuis. He drives the puck in deep. Onto it is Derek Dorsett. Down behind for Henrik Sedin. His line mates are on the bench as Henrik stays out there. Back to Hamhuis. Wrist one on goal. That hit Dorsett in front. Jets come up with the puck. Scheifele banks it out. Under 6 minutes to go in the third. Dorsett plays the puck back into the Winnipeg zone. Dorsett taking a turn here with Horvat and Hansen in place of Ronald Kennens. Thorburn backhands the puck into the Vancouver zone. Halicek moves in on Hamhuis. Odell's there as well. Halicek had the puck chipped to the near side. Now Trouba at the right point. Wrist shot blocked. Turning with another shot is Odell, and Eddie Lack with the glove reached out to grab that one. Thorburn slow to get up. Canucks leading by one on Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon night in Vancouver.
Aquarium Kids Packs give families with young Canucks fans 2 outings for the price of 1. Each Kids Pack includes 4 tickets to an upcoming Canucks game, plus 4 free passes to the aquarium, a Canucks food combo, and more. Go to Canucks.com/kidspacks for details.
It's official. John and I did not win the 50-50 yet again.
Yes.
Big one tonight. It always is when you get a good rivalry like this and a ton of support for the opposition team. And there's a lot in this building hoping the Jets can come back and figure out a way to get something out of this game, trailing 3-2 with 5:20 to go in the third.
Nick Bonino, 10 for 16 in the face-off circle. That really helps your penalty killing when your penalty killing center is out there winning draws.
Lowry's taken the most of anyone in the game. 24 face-offs he's taken, 113, and he's in on the forecheck on Lucas Sbisa. Urbana clears the zone. Trouba chases back for the puck. And icing waved off
again.
There goes the Jet bench.
Paul Maurice is not happy.
It was Trouba both times. He kind of took a circuitous route back for the puck. And both times Brad Lazarowicz waved it off and then got an earful from the Jets bench. Myers forces the puck in front. Cleared by the Canucks. Enstrom collects at his own blue line. 4.5 minutes to go in the third. Blake Wheeler ahead for Scheifele. Runs into Edler, but he knocked him down. Edler, though, able to force the play offside. And now we have some rough stuff. Tanev and Wheeler in the corner after the whistle at the Vancouver blue line.
Blake Wheeler's not wanting to get involved in anything like that. You look at his lip. Canucks came back. It was 2-0 Jets, and nice pass, Radim Urbana. Chris Higgins, a quick shot right through Michael Hutchinson. He looks down, and then Yannick Weber and beats Hutchinson with the shot on the power play. And look at this one by Urbana. Wait. Get Hutchinson down to commit and halfway up the net.
Higgins got them started. And Urbana, as he's done so much lately, so often, A big goal in a big moment, and nothing since. And the Jets still stuck on one shot here in the third. 4:20 left. Burrows plays one ahead. Henrik Sedin to Daniel Sedin. Shoots, and a blocker saved by Hutchinson. Tyler Myers. Pass to Slater. Chips the puck in. Pass Henrik Sedin. Cam Hughes tried to help it along the end board. Slater centers. Chance for Tulowitzki. Ran into his own man, and here come the Canucks. Tulowitzki and Myers collided. Vancouver has an odd-man rush. Daniel Sedin checked by Enstrom. What a defensive play by the Jets defenseman. And Vancouver never got a chance.
Henrik and Daniel at the end of the shift. Not much left.
Hansen deflects the puck in. Again, we see Dorsett come out on this line. Trouba winds up with the puck. Kennins is at the bench for Vancouver. Just missed his last couple of shifts with Dorsett taking his place. Jets center the puck. Hansen tips it to the line. Held in by Trouba. Ladd throws a hit. And now another one for the Jets on the far side by Frolik. Puck stays in the Vancouver zone. Myers with a long shot. Knocked down by Spiza. He clears the puck to the side. Ladd centers. Frolik. Stopped by Lack. Rebound. Lack stopped him again, and he covers up. And now Ladd into it in front of the goal. Throws a glove punch. Scheifele grabs his man. And on the other side, Dorsett's tangled up with one of the Jets as the fans chant Eddie.
Well, that's Tyler Myers at the other side with Derek Dorsett, and that's another mismatch in size. I don't think there's going to be any penalties out of all this, although Andrew Ladd, I guess he was roughing all the way around. Well, why is that not a hand pass? Mark Scheifele played it with his glove, and here's Mike and Eddie Lack. That's his best save. Well, I guess the second period he had a couple, but that crucial time.
Tracking the puck to the side, and the Jets only their second and third shots of the period, but they were in close in their bid to tie the hockey game. 2:53 to go. Face off in the offensive zone. Hutchinson stays in for now. Bonino wins the draw for the Jets. Win possession of the puck. Wheeler hooks one to the side of the goal, knocked away by Lack. Bonino put it right up the middle. Wheeler intercepts. And then Stafford to the side, tried to get a shot, but he fanned on it. Stafford battling Edler in the corner. Scheifele's onto the puck. Bonino steps into him and separates him from the puck. Tanev sends it ahead, and Vrbata tips it down into the Winnipeg zone. 2:20 to go. And wheeling out of his own zone is Toby Enstrom. Drops at center. Adam Pardy over the Vancouver line. Pass knocked away by Weber. Daniel Sedin can't clear. Henrik trying as well. Puck stays in the Vancouver zone. Canucks still trying to get it out. Jets doing well to hold it in. Now Henrik Sedin gets it outside the line to center. He chases after the puck, but Tulowitzki gets there first. Under 2 minutes to go. Third period, and Burrows gets the puck in deep.
Another quick change.
Hutchinson looking to the bench. Lauer bobbled the puck at center. It's back into Winnipeg end. Horvat steals. Makes a move to the corner. He's trying to hold the puck deep in the Winnipeg zone. Now Frolik, checked by Dorsett. Tulowitzki trying to move the puck forward. Spiza chops it the other way, but right to Scheifele. Frolik was offside, however. And the whistle blows with 1:21 to go.
Canucks hockey. Brought to you by Subway. Build your own comfort at Subway with a heartwarming ham melt and tomato basil soup combo. Subway, eat fresh.
Goalie still in for the Winnipeg Jets.
He's partly out. Looking to the bench, but the Jets can't win the faceoff. And the Canucks.
Faceoff for Nick Bonino.
Get the puck to the Winnipeg line. Now Hutchinson heads on. 6 attackers for the Jets. Minute 10 to go. Canucks 3, Winnipeg 2. Tanev, Fan on his clearing attempt. Shifley in front. Fan on his shot. Now he gets one off. Glove saved by Lack.
Well, Chris Tanev took his eye off the puck in the corner and just went crashing into the boards. And now the fans are hollering, Eddie, Eddie.
Minute 3 to go.
And there's Eddie Lack, as you say, tracking the puck so well, and you've had a period where you haven't been busy at all, and good concentration for Eddie Lack, and now he's got something on the ice right in front of him.
26 saves, 28 shots. Jets net remains empty. Shifley against Henrik Sedin. Henrik wins it. Puck cleared the line and past Myers. And now there's under a minute to go. Trouba ahead to Shifley, wrists the puck in. Ladd reverses. Edler tried to play it up the boards. That was blocked by Blake Wheeler. Tanev dumps the puck to the far side. Myers kicks it to the corner. Now it's centered, but Daniel Sedin's the only man there. He skates ahead, feeds Henrik, empty net, backhander, scores! Another empty net goal for the captain, and the Canucks lead 4-2.
Well, this is just a good battle along the boards, and the Canucks, Daniel Sedin to Henrik, make sure he gets the red line, and the backhand, no doubt about that one. Congratulated at the bench. Not the emphatic high five like he got from Alex Burrows in the last game, the last empty netter for Henrik Sedin. But just as valuable, especially against this Winnipeg Jet team that jumped ahead 2-0 in the second period.
Henrik Sedin with a goal and 2 assists in this hockey game. Hutchinson leaves the net again. Jets are down 2, however. Here's Lowry. Hooking one in front, cleared away. Chris Higgins, pass to Verbata. He's got an empty net, and he finds it as well. Five unanswered goals for the Canucks, and they lead by 3.
Well, the Jets throw it to the middle blindly, and Radim Verbata again get the red line, and no doubt about, just like Henrik, no doubt about that one, right in the middle of the net.
Another score and win winner to tell you about by shopping at Safeway. Loretta Chesley, you've won a Bradley 4-burner stainless grill on behalf of Safeway and Nabob Coffee. And the final seconds will tick off. Radim Verbata. Two goals and 1 assist. Henrik Sedin a 3-point night as well, and Eddie Lack with 26 saves as the Canucks knock off the Jets 5-2.
Well, and the 2 saves Eddie Lack made here in the third period when it was 3-2, those are the ones that you remember. Michael Hutchinson down at the other end, you almost feel sorry for him because there was such a controversy in Winnipeg about should he start, should they go with Andrei Pavlich, who is so hot, and then back-to-back games. And Hutchinson had problems in that 10 minutes in the second period. He was good in the first, he was good in the third, but that 10 minutes in the second period, a couple went through him, and Verbata, who makes a lot of goalies look bad, made him look bad with the D.
Canucks have won 5 of 6. They're up to 90 points on the season. Winnipeg stays at 88 in the rapidly bunching standings in the Western Conference. John, you're 3 stars, and I know you went back and forth.
Yes, I did go back and forth. Those 2 saves Eddie Lack made in the third period got him to be part of the 3 stars. Henrik Sedin with the 3-point game, and Radim Verbata, who really displayed his talents once again, the first star in this one.
Canucks win a big conference game. After victories on the weekend, they come home and produce another one. This one over Winnipeg. 5-2, the final score. The hockey game part of the night The other is the Canucks for Kids Fun Telethon, and it continues here from Rogers Arena.